this is Twister. Now, Twister is a very cool fighter jet. It has these really cool tail fins that actually come out of the normal plane. And it has these nice engines here. And this. And the cool thing about this is, for one, it is a very original plane. And this section right here is actually not that hard to fold. So hopefully you'll be able to fold this plane. And with that, let's get into the video. Okay, so for this plane you need a 8.5 by 8.5 square of paper. Now what you're also going to need is a ruler, which is going to help us measure out some of the measurements that we'll need for the plane. With both that said, let's start folding. Okay, so to start things off, we're going to start by folding diagonally. So we're going to fold this corner right up here to this corner down here. And you can just slowly bring those two corners to touch. After you make sure everything's lined up, you can just make a crease right there. All right, now that we're done with that, we can go ahead and begin to unfold that. And we're gonna do the same thing here. We're gonna fold this section right here to this corner right here. So this corner to this corner. So again, I'm lining up my corners here. And then I'm going to just slowly flatten out the paper. A tip for making any of my planes is to make sure that you crease with your nail. That's really going to help. Okay, now what you'll notice is that we have a sort of X in the creases that we have on our paper. So now we're going to fold this corner right here to this corner over here. And again, I'm just lining up everything just like this. And then after I know everything's aligned, I can just flatten the paper. Okay. Now the next few actual folds are a little bit counterintuitive, so I'm going to pay special attention to make sure that you can get them done right. Going to zoom in here a little. Okay. So the first thing that I want you to see is these two corners over here. We're going to focus on this one on the right. And what we want to do with it is we want to take it, and another thing I want to show you is we have this crease that's going vertically down through the middle. I want you to pay attention to where that intersects the top of the paper, because that is where we're going to fold this corner to. So I'm lifting this up and I'm pulling it so that I can hit that section here where this crease, the center crease, intersects with the top edge. Just like that. And after that, I'm just going to unfold the paper once again. And now I have this other corner on the left, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Again, we're just folding this point up so that it touches the top where that crease intersects the top. Okay. Now, hopefully you were able to get that. I know that was a little bit hard to understand, but if you're able to, good job. Now I'm just going to turn the paper over like this, and then I'm going to flip it around like this. So, sorry. I'm just going to show you a few things before we keep on going. I want you to see this. We have the center point right here, and then we have a little intersection right above that. And that is the intersection of the two creases we just made in the center crease. So I'm circling this point because we're going to want to remember it, because I'm folding from this point to this corner up here. And that crease is basically going to go just like this, right up to that corner. So what I'm doing is I'm taking this point right here and I'm tacking it. Then I'm using that to pivot it up until I hit this crease right here. And then I can crease, but I'm only creasing to this part right here. All right, now that we've done it on this side right here, we're going to do it to the right side over here. All right, now fold from here. Again, I'm just tacking that and I'm swiveling it all the way until I hit this top corner right here. And I'm just creasing to this point that I'm swiveling from. And again, that crease should look something like this. And with that, we have finished all the pre-creasing we need to now fold and collapse the base. So I'm just going to turn it over. And what we have is we have again this intersection right here. And we have the crease that comes out here and the crease that comes out here. And this crease we just made over here, and this crease we just made over here. And what I'm going to do is these two creases, here and here, I'm going to fold on each other at the exact same time. So I'm pulling these in, just like this. And as I pull them in, we have this flap right here, which we can just push to one side. And we are almost done getting the base ready. And then I'm just going to open this up like that. Okay. So now I'm taking this top corner right here and I'm folding it down right to the intersection, right to this point where the center crease hits this raw edge in the middle. And I'm folding this point right here down to that. And I'm just making a little tack in the center between these two creases right here that you'll see. And once I've done that, I can go ahead and unfold. Now, the next step is going to be a little bit difficult, because this crease we just made here, we're basically going to extend it by folding this section. Here, let me zoom in so that you can see better. I'm pulling this section up. I'm sticking my hand in this pocket right here, and I'm pulling it up. And I'm just creasing this section on the inside. And as you can see, it looks like that. I have this nice little crease on the inside of my paper. Now we're not going to flatten it yet because there's still another thing that we need to do. Now, this step is we're basically, let me get this ready. When we pull up, I'm just going to hold it in this position, like this. I'm just going to try and hold it in this position. Now I'm going to zoom out because I'm going to need to show y'all something. All right, now I'm pulling this down. I'm creasing right through these couples of points. I'm swinging the paper out. Just like this. I'm swinging all of the paper I have here out of the way. Alright, actually, go back. This point here, we've just made this long crease, as you can remember. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pull this in, and all the stuff we just did is pre-creasing for what we're doing here. So we're basically going to make a crease that goes from here and is halfway on this crease. If we made a line across it, we'll go halfway between this side and this side. So that's the basis for how we're making this crease. And how I make it is I fold this side over and then I pull up right where the estimation of that area is. And then I'm folding over here. I'm making sure that my paper is fully anchored down, and I'm folding over like that. And I'm doing the same thing on this side, just like that. Now that might be hard to see, trying to make it as visible as possible. But again, I've tacked this down, and now I'm pulling this flap back. And now, what I should technically have here is I have these two sections right here. And now, with that done, I can continue with this step. I'm pulling the paper out like that. This flap is now while it's like this, I'm making sure I've tacked my finger right here, and I'm pulling this out. I'm doing the same thing with my other wing. All right. So my paper should look like this. And what I want to do is I want to pull this section up like this. And I'm trying to make sure that this lines up, this top section here lines up with the center crease. And then I'm pulling everything down just like this. And I'm flattening the paper down in this orientation. Just checking my flaps to make sure everything's good. All right. So I know that was difficult. If that was too difficult for you, you can go to my channel, and I have more easy plane tutorials right there. There's a playlist, and if I see a significant increase in views on the videos that are on my Easy Paper Airplane videos, I will dedicate a series to much easier planes that you can fold. Even much easier than the easier paper airplanes that are on my channel. Alright, but with that said, it's time to keep the work on going for this plane. So I'm pulling this up. I'm gonna pull this up again, and I'm just swiveling in. I'm basically gonna make a crease from this point up here down to here. And I'm just creasing like so. Then I'm pushing this layer up just like this. I want to make sure this crease is a mountain fold. Make sure this crease is a mountain fold. And then what I'm going to do is the exact same thing I did on the other side. I'm just creasing from here all the way down to there. Just like that. Okay. So now I'm going to squash fold this flap right here. Just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to zoom in like this because we have some more stuff we need to do with this flap. You notice what I'm going to do is I have this raw edge right here, and I'm going to fold it to this little portion of the vertical crease. And my crease should look something like that. I'm doing the same thing on this side. But keep these both folded. And now I'm going to make a crease. I'm lifting up on this little section right here, right above the two creases I just made. Just like that. And I'm pulling both of these up just like this. And then what I'm going to do is pull this down, and I want to reverse the direction of this crease, and this crease. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to open the paper up like this, and then push that section under. And then flatten the paper once again. I know that was a little difficult, but if you were able to do that, good job. Okay, now I'm going to zoom out again. And I'm going to fold this back. I'm mountain folding this under the paper on the intersection of this petal fold. And I'm going all the way to this corner. So you can see the difference between the two sides of what I've done to this one. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. All right. Now what I'm going to do is fold a line that goes from this point up as far as I can go to here. And I'm just bending this wing in like that. Same thing here. Again, I'm just bending the wing in slowly. I want to make sure this is accurate because this will affect the appearance of the plane. If it's not done, you don't have to necessarily make it perfect, but at least try to make it pretty good. And the last thing we are going to do, pretty much on the major section of this side of the paper, is fold. As you can see, in a couple steps ago, we made these tabs here and here, and we're going to fold both of them into the center crease. It's going to be a little difficult, but is not difficult, and it is not really difficult. It might be slightly difficult for a beginner, but a beginner should be able to do that if a little bit of work. So again, I folded those in, and now it's time to turn the paper over because we're going to do some work on this side. Now the first thing I want you to notice is the all-important center crease of the paper. I'm basically going to fold over on that center crease in just a minute. However, when I do that, I'm swiveling the paper over, and I'm going to make a crease from this corner to this corner, as I've done. So I'm just pulling this over like this, and I'm just holding this at the top. Then I'm pulling over, just like this. I'm kind of squash folding mixed with swiveling. I'm pulling that over, and then I'm just creasing that, and then I'm just creasing the leftover paper on this side. And then I'm just folding this flat back over, and we're going to do that exact same process to this side. So again, I'm swiveling over, and I'm folding over just like this. And then I'm making sure that this crease here lines up. And then I'm creasing this area right here. And then I'm folding this back over just like this. Okay. So, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, we have this edge right here, and I'm folding it into the center of the paper. So again, I'm just folding in like this, make that nice crease. The crease should look something like the crease that I have here. And then I'm just going to do the exact same thing to this side. Again, I'm folding both of these in. And you'll notice that we have a little bit of space right here, just to make sure that it's completely normal to have space right there. And this is how our jet base should look. And I'm going to continue by unfolding this, and I'm folding over on the center crease again. I'm putting my finger inside this pocket right here, and then I'm pushing down with these two fingers. I'm just laying the paper down like this. That's called a squash fold. Then I'm pulling this one over. I'm doing the exact same thing. All right. So, I'm going to go ahead and do now is first match the symmetry of the wings and correct everything if you need anything if you need to. Symmetry is very important in every origami or paper airplane model. Alright, you can just go ahead and flatten the paper out. Just to slightly adjust in the paper. Alright, now we have, now we're going to pull out the ruler. And what I'm going to measure is from this raw edge here, and I'm measuring on the center crease. I'm measuring 1 3/4 inches from there, and I'm just making a line right there where that point is. So 1 3/4 inches from the bottom. Then I'm lifting up on here. I'm making sure this is aligned. I'm just tacking that right there for a reference. But I was just making sure that we had that crease so that we could fold. We're basically pulling this layer up from here, this point where this edge is from behind, and I'm just pulling this up like this. And I'm doing the same thing here. I'm pulling this up, then I'm flattening this crease in, and the paper should look something like this. Then I'm gonna do a similar thing to what I did when I petal folded that section on the other side of the paper. I'm holding it like this. Then I'm just pushing this section of the paper under, just like that. Now, what I'm going to do is measure 1 3/4 inches again from the top, like this. Alright, and I'll take that point here. And I'm lifting up on it, and what I'm doing is I'm creasing on this side of the paper like that. The paper is not going to lie flat. It's not going to want to lie flat if you lift this step. And you're just going to let it open up like what I'm doing. And we're not going to fully open the paper up. I'm just holding it like this. I'm putting a crease in this layer right here to match this one that I have here. And then I'm folding it down just like this. Okay. Now we are getting ready to make the tail fins right here. And to do that, I'm going to open this up, and I'm pulling this to this little line that I have right here. So I'm pulling this crease I have here to that line And I'm just flattening the paper once I do. And I'm doing the same thing on this side. Remember, it is this crease right here. All right. Now, as you can see, we are getting ready as I'm going to fold these back. And I'm folding this up. I have these two creases that I've just made on both sides. And I'm folding this one up based on this one. And I'm making this line up with the center. I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay. Now, before we continue with the tail fins, we have one last thing to do with the wings. I'm pulling the wing out just a little bit. I'm going to unfold this, and then I'm just pulling it out a slight bit. And then, after I've done that, I have a kink in the paper here. I'm pulling that all back into the paper, and I'm spreading everything out. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to turn the paper over, but I'm doing it here, and I'm pulling it out to match on this side. I'm just going to make it a lot easier. And once everything is nice and matched, I can go ahead and open my paper up once again, and then do the same step right here. Okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and open my paper up here. I'm just pulling up on the creases we already have. And now I'm going to pull the paper back down, but on these two new creases that I have here. And basically, I'm pulling down just like this. And then I'm making this align with the bottom. Then I'm just flattening the paper down. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one here. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and lift the paper up, because we're going to pull this apart. And I have this crease that goes from here to here, and I'm just folding down on that, like this. And then once I've done that, I'm just going to refold this right here, and same thing here. Just opening that up and pushing it down. Okay. Now to amplify the coolness of the tail fins and make this cool little section right here, I'm going to zoom in to this tail fin on this side. And I'm just going to open it up, and I'm going to unhatch just a little bit of paper right here. It was trapped under here, and I'm just pulling it right back up. Then what I'm doing is I'm pulling this paper out and swiveling this edge here out like this. And I'm making sure and when I swivel it out from its position here, I'm pulling this so that this is perpendicular to this edge. And then, after that, I'm making a crease from here, this inside, from here, inside this pocket, to this line, like that. And then, while the paper is in this shape, I'm going to flatten the model just like this. Okay? Now, I know that might have been a little bit difficult, but again, you can go to my channel and find the list of easy paper airplanes. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So, of course, I unleash this paper. I pull this out, make it perpendicular to this line here. And then I'm pulling this up on this crease. And then I'm just flattening everything down like I did last time. Okay. Now, we're pretty close to being done. Just going to focus on this tail fin now. And I'm pulling up on this line right here. And the focus is this section of the paper. Because I'm folding this edge right here down to this little crease we have here. And as I do that, the paper won't lie flat. I'm just pulling it down like this. Then I'm just going to take this, I'm going to slightly give it a mountain fold under the paper. And then with this little section here, I'm just going to fold a little bit of that under the paper. Keep in mind some of this is optional. You can technically just pull down this section of the paper if you want to. This is just for reinforcing of it to make it more durable. Alright, now that I've done it to one side, I'm going to go ahead and do it on this side. You can go back and watch that. This is how I did it on this side. Again, this is the normal way that you can do it to make it easier. And then I'm just going to do the reinforcing method. Okay? Alrighty. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, I have these two creases right here. I'm going to focus on this one right here. I'm lifting up just like this. I'm swiveling up. Then what I'm doing is I'm turning the paper over. And then I'm going to lift the paper up so you can see. I have this section of the paper right here, and I have this on the back. I'm just pulling that section of paper up. And then I'm folding this in just like that. Now I'm going to do the same thing to this one here. Again, you can go back and see how I did it on this side if you want to do it here. So I'm pulling this up again, like I showed in the last section. And then after that's done, I'm pushing this under, just like that. Then I'm coming to this side and folding that paper under the model. And I'm just going to check one more time to make sure everything matches. Yep, that looks good. Alright, now, one more thing to do on this, on one of the wings, we're just going to fold a little bit of the paper up like this. And then I can just fold a little bit of the paper down like that. Same thing on this side. I'm folding a little bit of this up. And I'm folding a little bit of it down like that. The last thing we're going to do before the jet fold is just fold over the wings. Like that. I'm just folding over these lines right here. And I'm pre-creasing the folds for the tail fins. I'm folding here. I'm folding from this lock point right here. And I'm making this section here perpendicular to this edge. And I can just repeat that on both sides. Alrighty. Now I'll turn it over. I'm just gonna take these flaps and mount and fold them under the paper like this. These are going to be our engines. And now I'm just going to pinch the bottom section here. I'm pinching this bottom section here. And I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out. I'm pinching this section right here, the center crease. And I'm pulling everything up like this. After that, I'm going to turn the paper over, and I'm just going to pull everything down. Then I can just fold up the wings. The last thing I'm gonna do is open up, I'm gonna fold this flap away. Then I'm just going to fold this flap into the paper, like that. This is going to lock the plane together, like that. I'm just going to fold up my wings here, make the winglets, and there you go. You have a finished plane. Now, if Twister wasn't cool enough, if we get to 73 subscribers, we're currently at 72, if we can just get to one more, if you like and share the video enough that this channel gets one more subscriber, I will make a Twister Alpha, which will definitely be cooler than the last one. But with that said, of course, please like, subscribe, and share on the video. And now I have opened that you can click the bell for notifications from my channel. So, with that said, I'll see you later in the next video. Bye.